What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our NFL Week 14 NFL picks and previews. As always, I have Ethan joining me here to break down this week's games. But before we get into it, hit that subscribe button down below to be entered into our giveaway.
Yeah, what's up, Zach? What's up, everybody? A nice week for us. I know we missed the week 13 picks, which is unfortunate, but I had to study for a lot of exams, so I apologize. But
hmm
we're back at it. A 14-2 week for you, an 11-5 week for myself as well. A lot of good games this week. We had an all-star quarterback not scoring a touchdown on the road in New England this week. We had an upset on Sunday Night Football.
hmm
Your Packers. I'll let you talk about that a little bit here.
Yeah, I'll talk about it when we get to that week, but I don't think you
Okay.
realize this is week 12. So
Oh, okay.
it's all right. It's all right. Everybody makes mistakes, but we can fast forward to our week 12 picks for bets. You know, you did good there. Obviously 5-0, myself 3 or 2-3, should be 2-3. And then we'll talk about the games that actually did happen that you were talking about here.
Yep.
Obviously my
Yes.
Packers, great game. Pass interference should have been called. I'm an honest fan, but they didn't have to call the late hit that wasn't a late hit. And, it kind of evened it out in the long run. But the team that stood out to me the most this week, it's probably not going to be who you're thinking here. It's the Denver Broncos. And I say that because if Russell Wilson doesn't throw 3 interceptions in the second half, they win that game in Houston. And I'm still high on the Broncos here, possibly getting into the playoffs as a wild card team. It's just they can't have Russell have those halves. And maybe if he
Yeah.
only throws one, they find a way to win that game.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you there. I would say my little hot take here is Tampa Bay. They're winning this division, man. They're winning the NFC South and they're hosting a playoff game. So, I mean, it's a possibility. It definitely is. They have a pretty easy schedule in the foreseeable future. So yeah, definitely an exciting week and really excited to get into these week 14.
And then we have last week's locks. Myself went 5-0 to get back on track, and you went 2-3. So pretty much we're right back where we were as
Yep.
of week 12. But we'll move into this week's picks for week 14. And I'm going with the under in the New England Pittsburgh Steelers game. I think it's going to be probably around 28, probably a touchdown a piece, maybe. I don't know. It's just going to be either way over or way under,
Brutal.
no in between. And then I'm going with spreads. They're out. And the only one that I think could not happen is that one in Kansas City, just because it could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you said, we have Detroit and Houston, same number. We're taking both of those as well. We'll take Detroit on the road against the Bears, and then Houston on the road against the Jets. Both pretty good size favorites. They should be, honestly, I thought they'd be around 6 point favorites. Next, like you said, Buffalo plus 1.5 at Kansas City. I really like Buffalo in this spot, coming off a bye with basically playing for their season. A win here will really give them a much better shot to make the playoffs. And Casey's really been struggling, and they are at home, so you really anything could happen there. I'm excited for that game. Next, I got Denver plus 2.5. Man, they played with the Texans, and the Texans are a good football team. So
hmm
2.5 at the Chargers, who always seem to mess it up. I think getting less than a field goal there is perfect. So I'll take that, and then Philadelphia plus 3.5. Dallas may or may not be fool's gold. I like Philadelphia as underdogs in this spot because Dallas playing a Sunday night game against a team over 500. They're just about a 500 football team, so I'll take my chances there with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles.
And then we have our two teams on the bye. Not much to talk about for these two teams, except looking forward to next year and possibly moving the franchise forward. And then we'll jump
James,
in.
wait, real quick. James Conner had a huge game while we're there. James Conner against the Steelers had a huge game. I just wanted to point that out, give him the props.
Yeah, and of course it's against your Steelers, his former team, but they're going to turn it around this week with Trubisky at center. I think if they want to win this game, they got to find a way to actually throw the ball to their weapons. It can't be relied on Freiermuth in the run game. They have to get Pickens, Deontay Johnson, maybe even Allen Robinson involved a little bit if they want to win this game.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are going to win here Thursday night. I don't know, man. This is going to be really boring. And Mitch Trubisky, hopefully he is ready to play because the Patriots are kind of tough on defense. They don't have anybody that but
Mhm.
they do have Bill Belichick, so they're at least situationally correct most of the time. I got to take the Steelers though. Coming off a bad loss, fighting for a playoff spot. This is a must-win game for them.
Then moving to Sunday, battle in the NFC South. Saints should take care of business here, whether it's Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and the Panthers did show some life last week against the Bucs, only losing by 3. But I don't expect that to continue because the Saints need this win to keep up in the division. And it's possible if they win this game and Atlanta loses, that there could be 3 teams tied in the NFC South, the lead at 6 and 7. So I think the Saints are going to be one of those teams that gets the 6 and 7.
Yeah, it's just a brutal NFC South. I'm gonna take the Saints as well. Playing at home this week against just a brutal Panthers team. Like you said, they did show a little life last week, but the Saints with Jameis Winston, I believe Jameis Winston's supposed to start this week. Not sure about it, but I'm pretty sure that he is supposed to start. So they're gonna air it out. Kamara is probably gonna have 3 or 4 touchdowns. So that could be a lock, but I'm not gonna actually put that in as a lock. I wouldn't want to do that. So we'll go with the Saints here.
Yeah, it's not Christmas Day, where he scored 5. So
Indeed.
we'll go to Chicago for this one. And the Bears had a win in Detroit, but choked it away in the last 3 minutes of the game. So I'm sure that's on their mind here. But the Lions really need to figure out how to get to the quarterback. And, Justin Fields is going to be a tough quarterback to stop. But I do think the Lions win this one and cover. It's going to come on the running game. And David Montgomery and Gibbs have been the clear-cut, workhorse backs for this team. Ever since Montgomery went down and Gibbs took over that RB1 role, these two have complemented each other nicely, and I think that's the key to a Lions win.
Yeah, me too. I think the running game is going to be huge this week. Now, the Lions did struggle earlier against this team, and it was at home. So I think I think the Bears really have a shot here, and I'm gonna take the Lions, but Bears at home this week. They could be on upset alert. That's all I'm gonna say.
And then you have Houston in the Jets, and Houston is definitely the better team right now. Obviously, losing Tank Dell hurts for the season, but they still have weapons around him. And John Mechie could be a guy that steps up in his place, and I think he does. And CJ Stroud probably going to win Rookie of the Year, possible MVP if he, keeps putting up solid numbers and this team keeps on winning. He might throw for over 5,000 yards this year. And this Jets defense is good, but the offense, don't know what's going to happen. Zach Wilson's back starting in this one. So I don't know what's going to happen. They might put up 20 or they might put up 0.
Yeah, I think it's more likely for them to put up 0. This over under is crazy to me, by the way. 33 with a Texans team like this. I think that might be an over ready to hit. I think the Texans are gonna come out balling this week, and I think they're gonna get a win against just a crappy Jets offense. They're not gonna be able to keep up at all with the points. So that's why I would take Texans -3.5.
And then Indy goes on the road to face Cincy. And this is a big game for the AFC playoffs. If Indy wins this one, it's not knocking Cincy out of the playoffs, but it's definitely not helping them in the long run as we are getting into the later parts of the season. But if Cincy can win this game, chaos can continue in the AFC playoffs for those wild card spots. But I think Indy goes on the road here. They're playing well. Gardner Minshew has looked great as, officially the starter. And since he's really put it together after the few weeks since Richardson has been injured. And Jonathan Taylor, has a big loss for him probably for the rest of the season, at least regular season. But Zach Moss has to step up and make some big plays as, we've seen him and he's capable of doing so.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Colts here. But this is gonna be a great game. Setting up an AFC showdown between the Colts and the Bengals. You really wouldn't expect this, especially if I told you Joe Burrow and Anthony Richardson were both out for both teams. So it's really cool for both of these rosters to be in a playoff hunt like this. And if the Bengals win, they're right back in that mix of all the teams. So gotta take the Colts here just because I think they'll be able to run the ball effectively, and I think they'll get enough stops on defense. I don't see what's his name, Bengals backup quarterback.
Jake Browning.
Jake Browning, yeah, my bad. Jake Browning. I don't see him going 34 for 35 again against this Colts defense. So give me the Colts.
And another big game in the AFC playoff standings, not only for Jacksonville, just because, Lawrence, he's not out officially, but it's not trending well for him to play this game, where the Browns are expected to get DTR back for this one. And I'm going with Jacksonville on the road, no matter the QB situation. I think they're going to find a way to win this game because that offense has looked awful these last 3 weeks since Watson has been injured, and the defense just got gashed last week to the Rams. They don't really have much going for them right now, and I guess Jacksonville still put up 34 even when Lawrence was out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Browns here at home. This is a tough spot for the team coming up from Florida. I'm sure it's gonna be cold in Cleveland this week, so I think that's something to watch for. And this defense has not been balling recently, but we know what they can do. And without Trevor Lawrence, nothing really scares me from that Jaguars offense. I mean, Trevor's obviously ETN. He's a little inconsistent, so I think the Browns will be able to put up enough offensive points here to keep this game close and end up winning it at the end.
And a game that the Ravens need to win to keep that AFC North lead above 2 games against those Steelers and Browns. And it's a big game for the Rams as well as, they're looking to stay in that NFC playoff hunt, only out of the playoffs right now because of tiebreakers. And if they can go in there and get a win in Baltimore, I think the Rams are going to start to put people on notice that this team is going to be a team you don't want to play in the wild card round. But I don't think that's the case here. I think the Rams cover, but the Ravens offense is just too hard to stop right now.
I actually really like that Rams covering. I think it's going to be a lot closer than you think, especially with the Ravens being at home. It's just a lot of the public bets here would be for Baltimore, but I think the Rams got a shot here. And Kyron, ever since Kyron Williams been back, he's been a top three running back from
Mhm.
performance. So I think it's going to be a close game, and Stafford's been balling too. So again, an NFC West team that is a striking distance away. If they can stack some wins here, they can also make the playoffs. So I think they're going to be trying this week.
And a big game in the NFC South, like I was saying, if the Falcons lose this one, everybody is gonna be 6-7 at the top, possibly. But I think the Falcons are gonna win this one at home. It's pretty much a must-win game this late in the season for them. Desmond Ritter at home has been good historically in college and in pros, and it's tough to bet against Ritter at home.
Honestly, this is going to be a pretty good game. It might be just a little sluggish at first because of the way that these defenses can play. Mike Evans, though, man, Mike Evans is a beast. I think he'll go off this week, and that'll be enough. I think Bijan and that running game have a little bounce back week from last week as well. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. Baker loves throwing to Mike, man. It's been awesome to see.
Then moving to the 4 o'clock games, Vikings, Raiders, 2 teams out of the bye. And I'm going with the Vikings on the road. Dobbs is starting, which I don't know why that's been a question, and he has one bad game, and they're thinking about benching him.
Yeah.
They got fully healthy now. Justin Jefferson expected to play this week, and now it'll be interesting to see how this Viking offense clicks with their best weapon back. And I think he's going to have not a huge game, but he'll make an impact in this win.
I think I think the Raiders winning at home. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid. Whatever is in that Kool-Aid is making me want the Raiders. Is making me pick the Raiders over the Vikings this week. Or just Vikings coming off a bye, Jetta's coming back. I think the hype's on Minnesota, and the Raiders have just been spoiling seasons, breaking hearts all year long. So give me the Raiders this week.
And then a big game in the NFC West. Niners, Seahawks, and last week showed me that this Niners team is probably the best team in the NFC right now, and maybe even in the whole NFL. Doesn't matter the record. Ever since they came out of the bye week and acquired Chase Young, undefeated. And the Seahawks team, well, they had their best offensive performance last week against the Cowboys, but that defense is not looking good right now. And you get the Niners on the road. That's a tough matchup in itself. And
Yeah.
good luck trying to stop McCaffrey.
Yeah, good luck to Seattle this week. We will be attending the Seattle's funeral, so it's going to be a very rough game, I think. I mean, the last game in Seattle with the 12s, it was a blowout. So I just don't give them much of a chance here. If you got any Seahawks fantasy players like K9, Charbonnet, or DK, I don't know about DK, but definitely bench the running backs.
Then at 425, big game for the Bills and especially the Chiefs at home. These 2 teams very familiar playing each other these last 3 years. And the Chiefs got the better of the Bills almost every time, and I think the trend continues here at home. It's a must-win game for both these teams as, they're really trying to find their footing right now at this point in the season. And I like the better quarterback in this one with Mahomes.
I mean, there's an argument that Josh Allen's been playing just as good as Mahomes this year. So it's going to be obviously a really close game. And the Bills got to win one of these games, and they're fighting for the playoffs. I think the Chiefs dropped to 8-5 this weekend, and then they're really going to start to pick it up after this. I think this is when they get hot, but I think this is the game where they kind of get shocked into playing better.
And a big game in the AFC West. If the Broncos can go on the road and get this win and those Chiefs lose, like you're saying, they're only a game back in that division. And I think the Broncos are going to get that win here on the road against the Chargers. Chargers have been an awful looking team these last few weeks here. If you win and only score 6 points against the Patriots, you're not doing something right. The offense is very concerning for me. And even if the Chargers do make the playoffs here, I still think Brandon Staley's fired. I just don't think his job is just safe right now.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Definitely. That's a good call right there. I think Brandon Staley's job is not safe. I do like the Chargers offense, however, though, this week. Broncos have been playing better, but Justin Herbert's not going to play like that 2 weeks in a row. Not that he played bad necessarily, even though 0 or 6 points is still on, you can't have that, but you got to punch those in and you got to score more. But Herbert definitely this week is going to play a lot better, and the offense will be rolling. I just don't think the Broncos. I just don't think the Chargers will be able to stop the Broncos on defense either. So it's going to be a pretty high scoring game, and I'm going to give the edge to Sean Payton and the Broncos over Brandon Staley.
And then Sunday night football, Eagles, Cowboys, probably the biggest game of the year, not just for these teams, but probably the NFL. I mean, last week's Eagles Niners game was up there too, but this game means so much, not just for the division, but for NFC seeding as well. And if the Cowboys win this game, they could possibly get the 1 seed and run the table, the NFC, and finally get home playoff games where everyone has to come to them. But if the Eagles win this one, obviously, probably you're going to have to go through the link in the playoffs if you want to get to the Super Bowl. But I think the
Mhm.
Cowboys are going to win this one at home. Dak has been MVP numbers this year. He's the better quarterback than Hurts right now. These last few weeks, Hurts really hasn't turned it on a little bit. I mean, I get the game against Buffalo. He did. Just Dak and the boys have just been playing really good football. And CeeDee Lamb is the best, probably non-quarterback on the field right now in this game. And good luck to that secondary trying to stop him because he's all over the place.
Yeah, you're right. They really been playing some great football in Dallas. I just think Dallas being not so good against these top teams, I think, is a lot of pressure coming in. Sunday night football, home game. I think Philadelphia put some pressure on them, and Dallas being 3.5 point favorites kind of surprises me. I feel like it's got to be under three. I feel like Philadelphia should be favored by like a point or something. So that's why I'm taking the Phillies. I think the NFL knows. I think this is a non-public bet here. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Cowboys. So I think you're going to win some money with Philadelphia this weekend.
Moving to Monday night, my Packers go on the road to face the Giants. Both these teams on a little win streak. The Giants are on a 2-gamer, Packers on a 3-gamer. And if my Packers can go on the road, get this win, they can possibly move up to 6th in the NFC playoffs if the Vikings were to lose. First, you got to take care of business. And right now, this team is on cloud 9 after that Chiefs win. So this could be a letdown game. I get how that goes. But the way Jordan Love's been playing, I don't expect that. They just need healthy Aaron Jones and Christian Watson back.
Yeah, I think the Packers should definitely win it this week. I don't think it's going to be a letdown game just because these guys are all young. They're just going out there and playing right now. So I think I think they're going to play hard and they're going to smack on the Giants on Monday.
Then the last game of the week, Titans go on the road to face the Dolphins, and 13.5 is a lot of points in the NFL. And honestly, the Dolphins might cover because the Titans offense looks lost when they can't run the ball with Derrick Henry. And I don't know who's going to stop Tyreek Hill in this one. Oh yeah, and they have Devon Achane and
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert and Jalen Waddle. There's too much speed on this team for the Titans. If you can't tell, I'm going with the Dolphins big here.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to win big as well, but I do have Derrick Henry. So I believe he is cleared the concussion protocol and he's set to play this Monday. So that's going to be a good thing for the Titans. If they can run the ball, there's definitely a way where they can run the ball well, pass it to D Hop, get him involved as well, and they could pull off the upset here. that they got to put pressure on the Dolphins, and I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Tyreek Hill probably score another touchdown. That's basically a free bet with Tyreek Hill anytime scores, just free
Mm.
money every time. So yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to win it big and sit at 10-3 and the number one seed in the AFC after this weekend.
But that's gonna be it for this week's preview and picks. Check back next week to see how we did picking this week's games. But until the next time, the bench buddies are out.
Peace.